Hi there, Taurus. This is Jeffrey. This is Ripecolor. I think I need to turn up the volume. Okay. This is a reading for January 2023. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, press the bell for notifications. I offer private readings. I also offer IET. The information is below. I'm having a special on one question readings, which would be about 10, 15 minutes, $30. Okay. So it's very early in the morning. It's 6. I woke up really early and I started. And I did all the air signs, and they were very airy, well, let's just say it. And then I was like, okay, let me do Earth. And I got a message, and then he told me that it was for Virgo. And then I was like, okay, well, who am I going to? And like the energy shifted. And the energy is really like the little mini message is like, what are my options? That was the energy. It was like it's almost like let me look at things. What are my options? Uh, maybe I'll try something new, but allow myself to like really live in the moment. Like sometimes you try something new and then it's like, I don't know if this is for me. And it's like one way or the, it doesn't matter. Because sometimes we talk ourselves out of it before we do it, right? Or before we take an action towards something. It's like, well, let me try one class. Let me do a little research. It's a little bit like that. It's like, what are my options? What is my desire? What makes sense? What do I want to fulfill? What do I want? What do I want? It's a little bit like philosophical. There's this energy of like being with yourself and saying, what is it that I really want? And do I want it bad enough in order to take action toward it? Or, so I feel like it's almost like before you take the action, it's like, do I really want this? Or am I curious? And if I'm just curious about it and I take some action toward it, that's good. It doesn't mean I have to commit to it forever and ever and ever. Like, see what happens, a little bit, see what happens. All right. That's the energy. That's the message. And it's interesting too, because I am sort of getting tired. And I'm very rigid in a way when I do the videos. In my organization, right? So I always do the three, I break them up by element, right? So I did the air, and you're the second one in Earth, and then I have to do Capricorn. And like part of me is feeling like you'll see how you feel after the Taurus reading. Maybe you should go back to bed or rest for a while or eat or something. So it's like, well, let me see how I feel. It's a little bit like, let me see how I feel. Okay. So we have the Queen of Wands, which is really interesting, and the Hanged Man and the Page of Swords. Okay. So the Queen of Wands, I always understand in the way I describe her. First of all, she's super fiery and she loves to take action. All right, I don't know what I'm doing with this thing. Okay, I had all these screens in front of me. Okay, she loves to take action, but the timing is always right with her. She knows exactly how to time it. So sometimes she'd like, it's a little bit what I said. It's like, okay, I'm really fiery, but I know when to act. She has this energy of being right on time, right at the moment, right? She doesn't act too quickly or too slowly. She's like You know, it's almost like being in a band and being that guy. So he only has to do it once during the whole song. What do they call those things? Cymbals, right? Is it cymbals? Yeah, I think. And but it has to be at the right, exact right moment. It has to be the exact right. So that's what the Queen of Wands is a little bit like. Then I have the Hangman. Hangman's really fascinating. The Hangman sits and waits and contemplates, and it's like it's this energy of pause. It's this energy of, well, it's a willing self-sacrifice, but it's this energy of I'm going to look at things from a different angle. I'm going to sit and wait until it comes, until I'm illuminated, basically, until I'm illuminated. See, what happens with the Hanged Man is that it's Odin, right? And Odin has the gift of prophecy, and he's looked at in a very strange way, because usually in Norse culture, men didn't have the gift of prophecy. And it's like, it's a little feminine, darling. Really? Is it? And instead of like hiding it or pretending isn't there or eliminating it, right? Or like covering it up or something, he doubles down and he gouges out his own eye, the sacrifice. So now he doesn't have perspective, he has a different perspective, right? Because that's what happens when you just want to use one eye. And he hangs himself on the tree for a certain amount of time. It's different in different stories. And once he does that, he sacrifices himself to himself, is what he does. I sacrifice myself, my identity, my identity, my way of looking at things, to myself, to my soul, to my light, to the tree of life, to my higher self's will. But he doesn't really act right away. So what happens is he goes into all the realms. That's what he does. He goes into all the realms, whatever that means. He goes into the underworld and he goes into heaven, and he's illuminated by it. And so he has a fuller, richer, more, I don't know what the word is, a varied outlook, a complete outlook in a way that he hadn't before. And then I have the Page of Swords, who sort of comes fresh out of heaven, because I always feel like the Page of Swords is Michael, right? Archangel Michael. The other thing I get from the Page of Swords, and Michael has really clear, direct. Michael is really clear, really direct. The other thing I get from the Page of Swords is pay attention to the omens, because they're little tiny. You can hardly see it. They're a little tiny. This is like, it's so funny because the drawings are so good, but then there's like, it's like little M seagulls. And I always feel like pay attention to the omens. So it's like if I sit long enough and I'm willing to let go of my way of thinking, and I'm willing to let go of my identity, whatever that is, then it'll come. Because it's like sometimes I think we all get caught up in what our identity is. It's like, well, I can't do that, because I don't have that talent. I don't have that skill. What will people think? All that. Listen to your intuition. The thing about the King of Cups the way I understand him, he's the king of compassion. That's what he is. And he listens. He listens to his heart. He listens to his intuition. And he's also able to listen to others in a way that's really profound. It's really profound. He has space. He has space, but most of all, he holds space for love, love of self. He holds space to get messages. This is an interesting one, read. And then if I sit there long enough and I allow myself to give up my fiery, if I allow myself to give up my, not give up. So this is about union of body and mind, but it's also about, there's an energy here of like the eternal comforting mother, right? Coming and saying to the lion, "You're such a wonderful lion." I'm not saying that you shouldn't be a lion. What I'm saying, or what I'm offering you, or what I'm comforting you to do, is to use your power wisely. Use your power wisely. All right. And it's like, well, I wonder if I take action toward this, will it grow? But this is also about confidence. Hmm. Hmm. The six. So the sixes are about perseverance, right? And that's the card of like the help showing up when you need it, basically. That you're being supported when you need to be supported, right? And it's also this element of balance, this element of, because sometimes it's like, well, I've sat and I paused and I'm being led, I feel, by spirit. Um, but when that element of balance comes in, it's like, it doesn't have to be, first of all, it's community, okay? But it's also this element of kind of moving slowly. Like that's what I'm getting today. It's like there's this element of like, okay, well, I really want to be a chemist, and because like that's what's calling me, that's what's interesting to me, and I'm going to start investigating and start like getting my feet wet and trying it a little bit and incorporating it into my life. It's not because if there's any movement at all with the hanged man, it's a really slow going kind of thing. But at the end of the day, I'm being led by the light. I'm being led by the light of my own. And when I say I mean you, I'm being led by the light. I'm being led by my soul. And sometimes changes of passion and changes of attitude and changes of action happen really quickly. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's like it's a process. Sometimes it's like it's a process. Yeah. It's a brand new spanking idea. It becomes clear. And I get another like contemplation. I have to, in order to get the clear thinking, I have to stabilize my thought, get quiet. And maybe what's stopping me is that I've been just like, maybe I've tried it before and I've been disappointed, right? Because sometimes we have to come back to things, right? Maybe it just wasn't the time, right? Maybe it just wasn't the time. Because I get the five. The five is like it's a change, but it's also, there's a disappointment in this card, and it's like, it's like, oh, this didn't work out, but you still have 2 cups. You can go back at it again. It's like, sometimes you try something and it doesn't happen right away. It doesn't happen right away. And maybe it just wasn't the time. Maybe you didn't have enough experience. Maybe like the right set of circumstances weren't set up for you, or maybe you did it. Maybe you tried to do something when you didn't have enough cash to do it, right? Or you weren't in the right frame of mind. You had different responsibilities. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, well, it's 5 years later, or it's 10 years later, and I'm getting it again. So I feel like maybe now's the time. Yeah, expect good things. Expect good things. This is also about going to a new land in a way. It's about like, there's this energy in this card. It's an international card too. So it's this energy of creativity, moving forward with a plan into the future, and an energy of almost like going to a different land, or going to a different taking a chance, kind of taking a chance, but not in a not taking all your money out of the bank and throwing it into one stock or something like that. It's not that kind of chance. It's more like you go to the arcade, right? And you do the water gun thing, and expecting to win, and seeing where that goes. What's it like to walk around with a big stuffed animal or something? I don't know how else to say it. It's not crazy. It's measured. Um, but it's kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting, actually. And I think it needs to be slow. Like for you in this moment, like it needs to evolve. It needs to present itself. It needs to, a little bit like that. A little bit like, okay. So it's almost like trying new food, right? It's like, I've never really eaten that before. It looks a little weird, but, and it's like, oh, I really like this. This is, the next thing you know, you become a avocado farmer, or a macadamia nut farmer, or whatever, right? A little bit like that. I don't know how else to say it. All right, away we go. I know when to act, but the time right now is to look inside and wait for the omens toward something new and creative. I might have tried this in the past, but I think I'm going to try it again. And, plant seeds, see what happens. I feel like I'm being led by spirit. I'm listening to myself, and I'm being really compassionate with myself. I'm being really compassionate with myself. And if I need to ask somebody to help me, then that's what I think I will do. My light is leading me here toward like a new way of looking at things. And I've stabilized my thought. I have stabilized my thought, and it's pretty clear. And ta-da, maybe I can go after my dreams. Maybe I can go after my dreams. Why not? 7, 7, confidence. Yeah, I don't have any other cards that match. I always find it interesting when I get like 2 7s, or, you know, especially if I get 3, 4 of the same. I had a reading last week for somebody that had 4 7s. I was like, oh my God. I think, but you need, I think the 7 came up for a reason. You know, it's like, it's like I'm like your coach, right? And you're like, you know, it's like, go ahead, hit the ball. No, but every time I tried in the past, I didn't hit the ball. Well, keep on trying, right? So do you remember when you learned how to ride a bicycle? Like those that in the beginning, it's like, this is not so easy, you know, with the training wheels. It's like, this is, you know, balancing that thing, it ain't so easy. But you know, you keep on doing it, and then, you know, eventually nearly everybody can ride a bicycle, right? But those first few times, it's like you fall over, you know, you knock into that, you knock into that, and then you can ride a bicycle. So think of it like that. Think of it like that. Blessings.